Hey guys, welcome to the Sportscast here. The NFL Draft. Let's talk about it. Well, your hosts, Brian, Jeff, and Craig. There he is. What's going on, guys?
Howdy.
It's going good. How is everybody going?
Doing good, man. It hasn't been that long, but it seems like we haven't been on in a while. I don't know why. I know the last time we were on was last Thursday, the NFL Draft. We did a live show. It was awesome to do. I thought we had a really good time with that. So, look forward to that on the Sportscast here. We're going to do some more live shows this year when it comes to big football games. So look forward to that. Well, the NFL Draft has come. It has gone. We've got the grades. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our teams and how we think they did as well. And then obviously the whole NFL Draft was around Shadour Sanders and all that situation. So we've got to discuss that as well, and maybe some playoff hockey and a legend of basketball stepping away. So we'll talk about all that coming up here on the Sportscast. NFL Draft, guys. All right. The grades are out. Do we want to go? Let's start it off this way, Craig. The Dallas Cowboys, their draft, I thought they did a really good job drafting this year. What's your opinion? What's your take on them? Because they've got some places graded as A minus, and A plus. So they've really highly rated on the draft. So what did they do that you liked, and fill us in on that?
I mean, they filled a lot of holes that they had. They go the offensive line in round one, which you lose Zach Martin. He's retiring. You had a bunch of holes there. I think they still need probably another offensive lineman to step up. You got the questions at center with Tyler Beebe, whether he is the NFL center or not. But they signed Booker today, the first round pick to sign. They signed him to, I don't know, $22.9 million over 4 years and $13 million in a signing bonus. So they get him signed right away. And you like what he says. I mean, I don't know if he actually pans out, but you like what he says, where he likes to take people's will for football away from them and watch their will to play football away from them as he blocks them in the game. They go the edge rush in the second round at 44, which that guy is graded on most people's boards in the top 20, and it was still there at 44. So they get him. They go the secondary and fill a spot there. That's impressive. And then they get the running back from Texas late in the draft, late in the fourth or fifth round in blue. If he's anything like he was at Texas, you have to like that. And you know, where they said Stephen Jones and Jerry come out and go, yeah, we're not drafting a running back. We're happy with the two guys we got in the offseason. And then they surprise everybody and go and get a running back. They still need another wideout to go on the other side of CeeDee Lamb to take the pressure off of Lamb. There's rumors that they're going to go back and reunite with Amari Cooper. I don't know if the salary cap allows that. And you know, my concern with that is I thought that Amari Cooper would do really good things when he had Josh Allen. I mean, Amari Cooper has always been known as a great route runner. He's a top of his class route runner, and so you thought when he went to Buffalo that him and Josh Allen would mend right away, and really when he went to Buffalo, that just didn't work out. So you wonder if Amari Cooper's lost a step, or you know, maybe, you know, Father Time has caught up with Amari Cooper, but there is rumors that they're going to try to get Amari Cooper. If they add a Cooper on the other side of Lamb, that would be a really big ad for them, I think.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not a big Amari Cooper fan, but I do think it'd be a good pickup for you guys. He's familiar with Dak Prescott. It didn't work out the first time there. I think McCarthy had an issue with Amari and really kind of pushed him to go. He didn't do good in Buffalo, but I think with him, Amari, in the cold weather, he's not going to – I think he's a guy that likes to give up a lot if things aren't going his way, and it's hard to find the motivation in the cold weather. But I think if he can come on Dallas and be the second guy, there's not a lot of pressure on him, I think it'll work out pretty well.
He's very familiar with Prescott, and Prescott liked him when he was there. Prescott felt familiar with him. When you had the other guy from Houston in Cooks, for whatever reason, that didn't work. I don't know if he got on Prescott's bad side, if he had a bad work ethic. I'm not sure whatever happened there. But that never seemed to work. They just never seemed to utilize him to what he was supposed to be, the guy that kind of took the top off the defense and was your deep guy, and they just never used Brandon Cooks the way he was meant to be used, and that was a disappointing sign because, I mean, if you look at the time he was there, yes, he was injured for a while last year. He missed probably 6 or 8 games, but overall, he just didn't get used in the offense for whatever reason, whether it was the head coach, whether it was the offensive coordinator, whatever it was. Brandon Cooks just never fit into the Dallas offense, so he never got used. I think Amari Cooper could come in and he knows the routes. He knows they haven't changed the offensive nomenclature. They haven't changed the route. They haven't changed the offense. They've run the same offense for years. And in Schottenheimer now being the head coach, he was the guy that called the plays. So everything's going to be the same as what Amari was used to. He could come in and hit the ground running.
I really like what you did with your second pick, the edge.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was top
Florida
20,
State.
He was top 20 in almost every
Boston
ESPN,
College, my bad, not Florida State.
Yeah, you know, and you get him at 44. I actually love to put him on the outside, the opposite side of
Parsons,
and make up for losing, you know, Tank Lawrence. You know, that gives him the other side. I really like that pick.
Yeah, it seems like a good value pick there as well, as he fell down the boards a little bit.
Can you pronounce that name, Brian? I'm kidding.
I don't even want to. Donovan, Ezekiel. I don't even.
That's it. That's it.
That's a tough one. Ezekiel Raka. I don't even know.
Yeah.
We'll have to hear when the Cowboys play.
Try and pronounce them. Yeah. You know, I thought the Cowboys drafted well, and they're usually a pretty good drafting team.
I mean,
so
with the guys they have, with the front office they have, they normally draft well. They've utilized they've taken those comp picks and they normally hit a lot on those. They've utilized it well.
All right, Jeff, let's get into the Denver Broncos. As you're a Bronco fan, obviously, they have a B+ here on NFL rating. How did you think they did in their draft?
I think they did the things that they needed to do in terms of trying to get, if they went defense right off the bat, which. I mean, some fans were kind of like, you know, what should we have done right off the bat? I think they kind of maybe if they wanted Gentry, I don't think he wasn't going to be in 20, you know, near the end there. So they went with their gut at on the defensive side, solidifying cornerback, pairing him up with Defensive Player of the Year and Patrick Surtain. So getting Jahdae Barron was huge. Going back and looking at it at the time, I wasn't quite sure because I'm like, I think they should solidify the cornerback position mainly because we had problems, specifically against the Browns. And there was a few other games that we were injured or thin at that position. Pat Surtain II can't do it all. And once we had a couple of injuries, we were just completely we would get owned. So that first pick, I know fans wanted a running back right off the jump, but I thought this was the right pick to make to just make the defense just as good as they were. They were top 3 defense last year. I think they're going to be right in the mix again, adding this player, and he's gonna make that pick so much more worthy once we see him out on the field. So I love the first pick. They ended up the next round getting a running back in RJ Harvey. I've seen some videos of Harvey. What's fascinating about him is that he actually had, I think, more 15 plus yards plays than Genty, which is fascinating. I think he was one of the top speedsters in the draft, running his 40. I can't remember what the time was on it, but it was pretty. I went back and looked, and I'm like, that's just nuts. So that's once we got solidified defensive player, then I'm like, okay, let's maybe go and help Bo Nix. And that's exactly what they did. So right off the jump, we needed a running back, we needed a cornerback, we needed a wide receiver, basically. That was the top priorities going into the draft. Running back for sure. And then after that, we drafted Pat Bryant from Illinois, wide receiver. A lot of these are gut check picks from Sean Payton and George Payton. They're not like the flashy ones. Like everyone's been talking about this guy. Everybody's been, and there's a lot of picks in this, but something similar that happened last season was I'm trying to think of his name, Brian. He's a defensive player. I talked to you about him.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. He was a beast, too. He was your...
tip of my tongue.
Starts with a B, right?
Yeah. I'll find it in a second. But anyway, they picked this guy. He was one of the cornerstone defensive players. He came off the bench, actually, to start the season, I think a few games in, based off an injury. And he ended up leading the team in sacks. It was it was a low pick in the draft. No one was talking about him. The only person that was really talking about him was George Payton. So a lot of these picks that the Broncos end up getting, they get a couple of edges, one of which they think is a player that can start now and a player that they can form into, which I think is Q Robinson, which they ended up getting in the 4th round from Alabama. They get a tight end probably to solidify some depth there. Our tight ends were horrible last year. But we also addressed that in the free agency as well. So I'm not too worried about that. And we got a punter. Not that was in the 6th round, I think, is we got a punter. So it's not the best thing. But going back, actually looking at that guy punt, he's pretty good. So I'm like,
Nick Bonito, Jeff. That's the guy.
Yeah, Nick Bonito. That's it. And he is a beast. He's amazing. He's amazing. And no one was talking about him. No one in the draft last year. So I in the Paytons I trust, right? And Sean Payton and George Payton, especially George Payton, he definitely knows how to find some stuff. So they say a B- on us, or at least from what I'm looking at here, and a few other ones were like B-. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I say it's not, we didn't slam dunk it because a lot of these guys no one knew about, no one was really talking about them. So yeah, I'd say B- seems about right.
Yeah, one of the guys I like that you got, and like obviously the Broncos have been rumored to move, they were going to move up and get a running back, and I'm like,
right.
Well, running back, the draft's running back heavy, right? And it could have definitely been that. I really like the pick with Jadon Barron from Texas. Ryan told me this guy's a dog. He's a little smaller, but he is a dog, and he'll go out and fight for you. But the edge out of LSU, Savion Jones, I saw a lot of tape on him and people talking about him. So he might have been a pretty good pick there for you on your edge in the 3rd round. So
one of the things that I did notice, a lot of players that they picked up were captains. And I think that is a Sean Payton thing. It's like you're a selfless player. You are a team player. And when you have that when your team has labeled you captain or given you the label of captain, I think it says a lot about your character, a lot about leadership, a lot about team play versus self play kind of thing, padding your stats versus helping other people on the team. And I think Sean Payton looks at a lot of that character, all of it, and it's going to be very fun to see where all these pieces fit in. And Q Robinson will be interesting. I think they're going to use him in special teams at first to kind of build him up to be a starter in a few years or a year, maybe even this year. But yeah, I'm more excited about defense. I know a lot of people like the flashy offense and stuff, but I like defense a lot. So I'm so excited to see how much better this defense will be versus what it was last year.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously excited. Everyone's kind of excited to see what your draft player is going to be, and
and the tight end position too. That's another thing. Is like I'm curious. So yeah, but defense. Oh yeah, I love that first pick. I'm like, come on, man. Like you just upgraded a part of the defense that was already really good. So
yeah, I wouldn't have mind him in Green Bay either. Speaking of Green Bay, we got an A- on a lot of places. An A. I like the draft that we got. You all saw it I wanted a wide receiver number 1. It's not the guy I wanted, but Matthew Golden was a beast for Texas last year. He should be stepping in here and coming close to being our number 1 wide receiver. I'm interested to see how he grows with route running and consistency, but he's super fast, and I wonder if this is Watson's replacement, since Watson can't keep healthy. He was that guy that took blew off the top of the defense. Well, he blows his ACL. He gets injured a lot, so this may be his replacement. And his dad came out and was bashing the Packers with this pick, and I'm like, shut up, dude. No one cares what you have to say. Like, super annoying. Offensive tackle. Ryan told me we kind of reach for this guy, but Packers draft pretty good offensive linemen. And I don't ever, one of the number 1 rules about the Green Bay is I don't ever pick apart their offensive linemen, because we draft guys no one's ever heard of and they turn out to be studs. So Savion Williams, running back out of TCU, this guy's a weapon. He's 6'4", super fast. He can play running back. He can play out of the backfield. He played a lot of Wildcat there for TCU. He's not your traditional going to sit there and run great route wide receiver, but I think we can coach him up to play that and use him as a weapon. Just get the ball in his hand type of way, kind of a Deebo Samuel-like. So I'm happy we addressed the wide receiver position. It's one of the biggest things. We haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round since 2002, so it's been a really long time. And then Baron Sorrell and Colin Oliver. I'm really interested to see Sorrell play from Texas. He stayed there all 4 days to get to walk the stage in the green room to wait for him to get picked, and we picked him, and it was cool to see him come out, and then he went on the field and did a Lambo leap into the stands. So I thought that was pretty cool, but I'm interested to see how he's going to do. And then we added a guy in the 7th round, Michael Robinson, a Tulane, a cornerback, and we'll see. Those 7th round guys usually don't make the list or make the roster, but we'll see what happens. He progressed, and he moved up to a bigger school last year and still had the same great play he did in the lower college. So we'll see what happens. But I really like what we did overall for the Green Bay Packers, and I'm interested to see Matthew Golden in this offense and Savion Williams. And we added depth on our edge rushing. And my 2 main number 1 gets, where it's going to be, we got to get an edge rusher and we need a wide receiver. And it looks like J.R. Alexander is going to be on the team next year. The things are actually looking better. They kind of butted heads, and we were talking about getting rid of them, but they said they had good conversations going forward. So we shall see. But let's look at the first round. Okay, for most teams here, and was there any surprise picks that blew us out of the water?
Can I say one thing about one of your players, by the way?
Oh yeah, 100%. Go ahead.
Savion Williams, versatile.
Yeah.
He seems like he can kind of play anywhere, kind of all over the place. So I think that's also, I mean, you can kind of slot him in different positions. I think at some point they said he played a little bit of a wildcat quarterback. That's just kind of crazy. He could also help in special teams too. So it seems like he can kind of go anywhere and help play in any position, which is kind of nice because you could do some tricks. You can mess around with the defense a little bit and mess with their head. So
Right, and and I like it too. And Matt LaFleur, I think he's one of the best head coaches in the NFL, and he draws up a lot of good offensive plays. And I'm interested to see how they utilize him that way. And I think he might be our punt return guy because we've been struggling there last couple of seasons. So I like his versatility. And if you go and if anybody wants to go look at his highlights, he makes guys miss. So. All right. Let's go to the first round. We all knew Cam Warren was goal number one. I think one of the biggest surprises was Jacksonville moving up and getting Travis Hunter. No one saw that coming. We thought the Browns were going to take him, and they move up and get Travis Hunter. And interested to see now the question marks there with how often they're going to let him play defense. How often they're going to let him play offense? So we get to answer those questions. And he said, if I'm not playing both, I'm not playing football. So he's going to fight for it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him on both sides of the ball and how much playing time he gets. And I'm going to ask you guys this question because I don't think we've answered it. I don't think we've answered this question. And Hunter and Ryan asked me on the draft show we did before the draft. Would you play him more as a cornerback or wide receiver, and which one, and why? Why would you play him at one more than the other? Craig, what do you think about that question?
He's a better wide receiver than he is a cornerback. He has done that more. He's had more success there. If you look at the numbers,
I agree.
Marginal as a cornerback. And like I said in shows previous, my concern with Travis Hunter is the teams he faced in college. They weren't the Georgias, they weren't the Alabamas, they weren't the Michigans, they weren't. Colorado was marginal at best. I just don't know if he has he's never really been truly tested by guys that play on Sundays in the NFL. He's never really faced that caliber of a wide receiver or that caliber of a cornerback running routes or as a defensive back. He just hasn't faced that in college. So it'll be interesting to see when he laces up on Sunday what he looks like against the top cornerbacks in the league, like they have in Denver or Dallas or the Jair Alexanders of Green Bay. It'll be interesting to see how he matches up against them, and it'll be interesting to see how he matches up if they play him on defense. If they try to match him up against number one wide receivers, can he cover the CeeDee Lambs and that type of guy? I don't think he can, but we'll see. I mean, he's got the right attitude. He's got the right deal. He goes into Jacksonville and says he was already Googling houses, in Jacksonville the night before because he just got some kind of premonition that he was going to be in Jacksonville, even though he supposedly never knew that he was going to be. They were going to trade and whatever. It'll be interesting to see what he turns out as and how he turns out in the NFL. I think it's going to be a risky pick, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, he I agree with that. I think he'll be a better wide receiver, and I think he's able to impact the game better that way.
Right.
Like you said, we haven't seen him go up against those great wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, he comes in, has to face Jefferson out of the Minnesota.
Right.
Can he shut them down? That's hard to do. If he's able to shut them down, right, he impacts the game. Kudos to him, but I still think he has more of an impact on the wide receiver part of it. So it's going to be interesting to see how much they play. Jeff, you got any comments on that and why you think he might be better at cornerback, or where would you put him more?
I think he has more fun with wide receiver. I just think that it seems like, I mean, when he wants to play both, but I like him as a wide receiver. I think he fights for the ball a lot. He makes some insane catches. I mean, some of the catches I saw him make in tight windows where you have to like awkwardly maneuver your body to catch he's got some incredible ability and explosiveness. I just think that I think his impact would be felt more offensively than it would be defensively. He creates more of a problem, with the way he plays wide receiver than I think on the defensive side. I think he's going to get his way. I think that based off of how unlike other players from Colorado, how he portrays himself, the team is being more willing to play ball, so to speak, with him and say, okay, we'll give you a chance. We'll give you a shot. I think eventually that will be turned into a one-dimensional type of position, like versus a duel. But I think to give him, to let him have some fun, why not? Why not just let him go out there and have some fun and see what you can get. But I do think eventually at some point they're going to have to make a decision, and he may even have to make a decision of like, where am I more needed? Where am I more impactful? And I think it's on the wide receiver front.
I feel like he wants defense first, or maybe not wants it, but I think that's going to be what he wants to do with his second and wide receiver. But we'll see it. I think people are going to tune in to see it. And
he'll be a draw. He'll be a blockbuster. He's going to have some highlights under his belt, and especially year one, and people are going to be put on notice right away. Either side of the ball, it wouldn't really matter. But I like his ability on offense, and this is coming from a guy who likes defense. So I would love to be like, you know what, nah. But he was fun to watch, and I paid attention more when he was catching the ball than he was defending.
All right. Well, the Giants go out and get Abdul Carter, a great pick for them. Micah Parsons 2.0. Something to worry about there, Craig, if that he's in your division and getting after your quarterback.
He's gonna be something to be reckoned with. It's I think this is something the Giants definitely needed. And I think personally, when it comes to some of these teams that are like kind of struggling for a while, solidifying defense is going to go a long way. Because you're not going to allow teams to score a whole lot of points, and it will allow you to then kind of focus on offense by whether it's some free agents, whether it's like with Russell Wilson's there. I just think it's nice for them it's good that they can kind of build around it with the team, with a defensive, especially this guy. He's going to be a centerpiece for that defense for a while. I love it.
Yeah, great pick. And we talked about it in the draft that the Giants won the first round. They go out, they get their guy at 3 without having to move up. And they moved back in to draft what we thought was going to be Shadour Sanders. What was Jackson Dart?
And that was a shock.
That was a shock. And Dart's
Not
a guy
some,
that
but
Dart's a guy that has potential. He is I don't think he's a year one starter. Now he's going to go behind Russell Wilson and learn from the veteran and him and see where they go from there. But I like Dart. I think that he's a fun watch at Ole Miss, and he laid a lot on the line. He's going to give you everything he's got, type of guy. So they definitely won the first round. We got Ashton Jinchi to Oakland, which I think is going to ruin him. They're just a bad organization, bad football team.
I'll say this much. I think the Giants did a good job with the guys they got in round one. Whether or not we kind of throw away this whole the witch hunt for Shadour or whatever is going on. I can assure you that if it was, maybe it is that, but I just don't think the Giants are going to just make a decision based off of only one avenue, and that is to make a statement. They're not going to waste a draft pick just to make a statement. Obviously, they saw something in Dart that they thought was more beneficial to them than to get to Shadour Sanders. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Personality won't help either. And yes, that's part of it. But they're not going to waste a pick to make a statement.
That and man, you got a little Shadour Sanders rant coming for you guys. All right, and but you're 100% right. If people thought Shadour Sanders was talented enough to be a great quarterback in the NFL, and there wasn't no questions on his talent, he would have gone in the first round, and they wouldn't have wasted these picks, and that would make no sense. But there's obviously those question marks there. So we'll get into him in a little bit here. Mm-hmm. We got Ashton Jinchi to Oakland. We got Teacher McMillan to the Panthers. I think surprised a little bit of everybody.
That was the entire surprise pick of the first round. He was supposed to go down the board, and I think if you look at that pick, if you want to point out a shocker, that was it. A lot of guys, Abdul Carter, to the Giants, he was slotted in the top 2 or 3, but that was the board. That was the one that everybody was like, "Well, hold on, this guy was supposed to be on the board later in the day," and they snatched him up. So there must be something they saw about him that they really, really like. Whether it's route running, whether it's catching the ball over the middle, whatever it is, that I think was the surprise pick in the first round. That's where we stopped and we're like, "Oh, hold on."
Yeah, and
might be better.
You're 100% right. And I think when you think about the Panthers and they're rebuilding and they're trying to find their way, a wide receiver is not that guy you draft, but they're trying to get their quarterback Bryce Young to pan out. So this is a guy that clearly helps them, right?
And maybe you got rid of when you got Bryce Young. What did you get rid of? You got rid of your number one wide receiver. You got rid of your number one running back. You got rid of almost your whole offense to get him.
Yeah.
You got rid of Christian McCaffrey. You got rid of DJ Moore. You give away your top 2. One goes to the Bears, one goes to the 49ers. You basically dismantled your offense and left a brand new quarterback with nothing to play with. So you're by going and doing this, you're at least telling him we're here to help you. Where the Packers didn't help Jordan Love, they didn't help Aaron Rodgers. At least the team is now showing, hey, look, we're here to help you.
Yeah, and interesting side note about Bryce Young, when they said him, we thought, oh man, this kid's going to be ruined. He came back and played way better. So, maybe
give him some time. You didn't ever protect him. It was a jailbreak on every play. I wasn't a fan of this kid. I didn't think he was going to come in and light the world on fire, but they really put him in a bad situation. They put him in an offensive line that had holes. They get rid of the number one receiver, the number one running back. They did the kid no favors.
No
so favors. by doing this, I at least, hey, you're giving him some kind of an opportunity. If he fails now, that's on him. But at least they're giving him a fair opportunity.
100%. The most head scratching move of the day goes to the Chicago Bears when they draft a tight end, Colston Loveland, and we all kind of were laughing because the best tight end in the draft was Tyler Warren, hands down. Wasn't even no questions, right. And he's still there on the board. And I'm sure Ben Johnson liked him and will find a way to fit him in. But at the end of the day, and Paul was like, "Oh, he's a better fit." At the end of the day, Tyler Warren's a Gronk almost a Gronk 2.0 or Kittle almost. And I'm like, that could fit in any offense. And I think, and maybe Colston Loveland turns out to be a decent player, but Tyler Warren's going to be a pretty dang good player. And so that was kind of had me laughing and us scratching our heads on draft night.
So here's what I look at. Ben Johnson comes from the Detroit Lions. Colston Loveland comes from the Michigan Wolverines. I wonder if there wasn't some kind of known deal. Look, I watched every Michigan game from here to the end of the season. Colston Loveland can run a route. He can catch football. He will go grab whatever you want over the middle. But he's not TJ Warren. So I'm not trying to hate on Loveland here and say that he's not worthy of being picked. And I don't know if Ben Johnson has some kind of relationship with him from being from Detroit and from knowing maybe he went to Michigan games, maybe he went to Michigan practice. I don't really know the history of him or not. But Loveland will be okay, but he's just not TJ Warren. That's why on the day of the draft that I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we doing? I mean, I love.
Let me show you something, okay?
Loveland, but I just don't. He's not Warren.
Tyler Warren last year had 1,233 yards receiving. Okay. Colston's 3-year career in Michigan, he had 1,466 yards combined. He almost put up the same amount of yards in 1 year that Colston did 3. He had 8 touchdowns last year, and Colston had 11 combined in 3 years. It's not even close.
Loveland did miss some time with an injury.
Okay. He only had 500 yards last year. I'm going.
Right. He did miss half the season with an injury. So he did miss some time with an injury. So there is that. But he's not, again, still not TJ Warren. TJ Warren is your top grade. If you wanted a tight end and you wanted to draft, especially if you wanted to trade back to the bottom of the first round, I have no problem with the Loveland pick.
Right.
Stay there at 12 or whatever, 10, 8, whatever they were at, and draft him over Warren. That there's really no reason. If you wanted a tight end and you wanted the best in the draft, Colston Loveland wasn't it.
Yeah, you missed, and it's. I'm laughing at the Bears. Let's see. We were wondering at 21 what Steelers are going to do. They went defensive tackle. Amar Hampton goes to the Chargers. Matthew Golden to Green Bay. The Falcons, they get Jalen Walker at 15. He fell down the draft. We talked about, wow, we're surprised he's still there. And then they move up back into the first round and take James Pierce Jr., Tennessee edge, which I thought was kind of weird. A guy, James Pierce, some people took him off his board completely. Definitely took him off the first round because of the off-the-field issues. But they go out and get, some heavy hitters on defense, and we'll see if the James Pierce Jr. one works out. That's a guy that I wouldn't have minded in Green Bay, but I don't think a first-round pick was worth it just because the tape-wise, yes. Off-the-field issues, That's a whole different story. So we'll see if that pans out there. And then
Quick question.
mhm.
Is this the first time we've seen the 49ers in the first round in a while? Or not the front, the not the 49ers, the where is it?
The Rams.
Yeah.
Who'd
Were
they
they
pick?
even in? Were they
The
in the
Rams
first
gave it. No, the Rams have given
No.
up years
okay.
and years and years
Yeah.
of first round picks.
Okay. Somebody
I
was
think
talking
the-
about that, and they were like, "The Rams even have a pick."
I think the first
No.
the first one they have is 2026, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, they gave up a bunch with Stafford to the Lions. They've given up. I mean, almost every year they basically sold their soul to win the Super Bowl. Basically.
So I wonder if it was the second round. Somebody was talking about there was one round in particular, maybe it was the second versus the first, but it was like the first time they were in the second round in, I mean, I don't know, 7-8 years. I'm like, that's
Right.
just crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Okay.
I mean, they're basically the Oklahoma Thunder of where Oklahoma gained a bunch of picks. They gave away theirs. They're the opposite. They gave away theirs for years to come.
And it worked. They got a Super Bowl. So
Right.
it's tough to argue against.
Right. I mean,
Would you trade years of picks, Brian, for one championship? That's the real question.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you would at this juncture.
I would trade 10 first round picks, 10 years for a Super Bowl. I mean, we've gone more than 10 now, so you'll do a lot. And the Rams, it worked out. Now, if you do it and it doesn't work out, then you're going, son of a. But it worked out for him. I wish it didn't because I wanted Joe Burrow to win one, but we'll see. All right, guys. Well, it is time we get into the Shadour Sanders free fall. I talked about it a little bit, put out a video last weekend about it because it's just too big not to talk about. More stuff has come out between here and there. And before I go into my rant, I want y'all's opinions and y'all's takes on it. Why do you think he fell? Do you think the NFL was sending a message? Do you think it's because he's black? Because that's been thrown out there, which is absolutely retarded. Because most of the NFL is black.
Yeah.
First round draft pick, first pick of the
Right.
NFL was black. Yeah.
What a statement made there,
It's stupid, right? So tell me how you guys feel about it, and then I'll get into my rant about the whole situation. But let's start with you, Jeff, on it.
The thing about it is, okay, so a lot of people, I mean, I live in Colorado. I'm literally like 15 minutes away from Boulder. All right. So here, everybody was going crazy over Deion Sanders being here, Shadour being here, Travis Hunter. Like the mania was in full swing for the last couple of years here. And so one of the things I brought up to one of the guys I work with, just jokingly, right, was, oh yeah, you're retiring his number, right? And he's like, I don't want to hear that. So this is a guy who liked Shadour. This is a guy who liked Travis Hunter and was literally like, Travis Hunter's winning the Heisman. Like, he was just, he's a diehard Buffs fan. Went to school there, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, even he was just kind of like, yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. And so that goes to show me right there that a lot of the people are starting to understand a little bit. Maybe the ego was a bit over the top. There have been multiple videos that have come out, obviously, kind of tackling this, showing new light as to the ego mania type of thing that's been going on, where you got legendary and you got all these things that most people probably would not say about themselves. And I will be the first to sit here and say, like father, like son, I mean, you raise your kid to think that, they will think that. And I think that's the thing is, it's kind of like when someone has a kid, their kid is the best of all time. when in reality there's a lot of really good kids. So it's like when you do that, then that mentality just instills constantly. You're being told that every day, I'm legendary, I'm legendary, I'm legendary. And in reality, you're kind of mediocre. And so like that, and there's videos where it shows him talking to, hyping him up while he's in a high school football or whatever. I don't know where they were, if it was college or high school. I think it might have been high school. And you have players just staring around like, huh? Like legendary. We all play. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. The people here, I think, are starting to realize that was a little bit over the top. I think the lack of participation in the draft combine was a bad look. A lot of people fight their hardest to get to that point. And when you go into the draft like that, as a son of a former player, and you're saying, I'm too good to do that, or I'm too good or too legendary to do that, it comes across like, I got here because of dad. I didn't get here because I busted my butt. And I don't know. It doesn't sit well. I think personality goes a long way, as well as ability. You can teach people to be a better player. That's the whole point. People coming into the draft are going to be different players in 10 years. Some will be way better than they were when they came in. But then if they come in with the attitude like that, you can't teach people how to be a better person. You can try to form that or something, but if he's acting like that now, I think a lot of teams just kind of said, you know what? You need to grow up a little bit. So I don't know. It doesn't sit well with a lot. I can see why it doesn't sit well with a lot of owners personally. So he's a good player. It's just, man, he needs to fix the personality a bit. That's the problem right there. And I think he overall is halfway decent. I don't think he's like the next Patrick Mahomes, but I think he will have flashes of really great plays, and you'll be like, oh wow, okay, that was cool. But then he'll kind of, after the game, taunt someone, and you're just like, can we not do this? So I don't know. It was a weird thing to see. I didn't expect him to fall that far personally, but
well, I don't think anybody expected to see him fall to the 5th round, but I don't think we should be shocked that he fell from the 1st round. You know, welcome J Money to the chat. We have J Money here. Let me show this on here. He says there's nothing wrong with being confident. Matt Brown said confidence is the most important trait for a quarterback. The key thing is just being aware that it is possible that people will perceive it as arrogant. And it's okay to be confident if you have the skills to back it up. And his dad backed it up.
Yeah. And here's a quick little tidbit of this. There's a video with him and Cam Ward. Everyone's probably seen this. It's been on social media. It's been on whatever. Cam Ward is like, they're throwing around the football, whatever. I don't know what they're doing. Probably just some drills or whatever, just horsing around. He's like, hey, let's do a collaboration on a rap. Cam Ward's like, I don't do that. I'm playing football. This is what I do. This is what I'm going to do. And Shadour is just so focused on, what do you mean? Like, you don't rap, you don't do it. And it's like, but the whole point of it is you have your whole life to have a hobby that is not the NFL. When you're vying to get into the NFL, that should be your main focus. And I'm not sitting there saying have no life and only just do NFL stuff, but Shadour is so focused on his rap versus the draft or his skill that Cam Ward came out looking a lot more mature than Shadour. And another one is the actual like draft pre-night party tells you everything right there. I watched the whole video. It was pretty wild. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, come on, man. Like,
He paid more money on the draft party than he's going to make in the NFL from being a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, and I get confidence. I get it. You want to be confident, but
there's a difference in confidence.
There's a difference
arrogance
between being confident and being arrogant. And when it comes across constantly like that, it comes across arrogant. And whenever that happens, then everyone's looking. I'll tell you this much: he's probably going to play in preseason. Someone's looking at someone's headhunting. That's for sure. They're about to introduce him to the NFL with a smack in the face. That's what's about to happen. Because if that arrogance is on the field at any point in that game, that defense is going to let him know what the NFL is all about.
All right, guys. It's time we learn the word accountability. You are accountable for your actions. And his actions was to go into these interviews and be a cocky, arrogant fool who acted like he didn't give a damn about the questions, about the time these teams are spending on him. You got the people are saying the worst quarterback interview in the history of football. You have not rumors, but factual statements. Him showing up to an interview with his full posse, about 33 people. Who does that, right? Who shows up to an interview? Then with 30-some people. In the interview, Jeff, he's got his Beats by Dre headphones on his shoulders playing music the whole time when you're trying to ask him serious questions about football. That is absolutely disrespect. Like, he took none of this seriously. He refused to talk to teams that might have been actually interested in drafting him. Like, I'm too good for you. And you're going, what the hell? And his daddy did that, Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders had the talent. You add in his arrogance, his terrible interviews, no combine, with the fact that he's got so many talent flaws or question marks. Is he going to be a great quarterback? Because I guarantee you, if he's going to be a great quarterback and there's no questions about it, they would have drafted him in the first round, hands down. No, they're not going to sit there and make a statement and then let the Browns pick him in the 5th round, 7th round, wherever the hell he went, to make a statement, to prove a point if he was actually going to be a really good quarterback and change your franchise. That would never happen. If talent would trump all that. But did it happen? No. He didn't play in the SEC. He didn't play against great big colleges. He has a lot of timing issues, takes big sacks, likes to play hero ball. They didn't do anything in Colorado. The only thing they did was they got Colorado ranked one year, and they're over here hanging their jerseys in the rafters, and his daddy didn't help him out either. It is ridiculous. This is his fault and his problem. I hope he ate a big slice of humble pie and moves forward, because you can't go in the NFL and call your offensive lineman out like you did in college. That ain't going to get you very far. So let's hope. And they told him, hey, you can always outshine where you were drafted. And that's true. So we will see. But this whole Shadour is what a poor little Shadour. Everyone's picking on him. Is total BS. Not only that, what about all the other prank calls, Jeff?
Yeah.
How many people were actually prank called? It happens every draft.
Yeah, it was a lot of other players. Yeah.
But who do they focus? Oh, we're gonna go and lay a smackdown on because it was Shadour. It's absolutely ridiculous. And his actions are the exact reasons why he fell off the board like he did, and became a joke of the first round.
Well, yeah, I mean, J Money, I'm understanding what you're saying, and I think that we started to see a little crack in the armor a bit. There was, I think, a live stream he was on. I don't know whose it was. It might have been his cousin or somebody, somebody's live stream, and it was around the time when he got picked by Cleveland, and they were like, oh, "Don't you want to rap?" And he's like, "No, I just want to ball." So I'm like, good. Like and he looked upset. Like he looked like literally not in the greatest place mentally, because I think he maybe got brought down to earth a little bit.
He needed it.
That's fine.
100%.
That's exactly what we're talking about. It's not about we want Shadour to fail, but it's more about like just dial it back a bit. Just dial it back. It's just I think that's what the world was talking about when they were talking about Shadour. I do think that he's a talent for sure. I've seen some of the games he's played. I know some of the kind of the craziness that he was able to pull off in Colorado, but he needs to come down to earth just a bit and show and just prove everyone wrong, shut everybody up. But
J Money thinks.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to let Craig say something because he hadn't.
Yeah, same thing. I was just going to say, J Money, thanks for jumping on. And I'm not rooting against Shadour. He comes in and kills it, great. Yeah. It's just when someone comes off that arrogant and hasn't really done a whole lot, it's kind of like, all right, well, and that goes with anybody.
That's anybody in the draft
in general. Anybody. Literally,
yeah.
And he does have. I will agree with you. He does have a good attitude about it. They showed him out in the Cleveland community. I think at an elementary school the other day. Good. So he's already given back, and that's fantastic.
Right.
Jeff or Craig, what do you have to say on the matter of Shadour Sanders' situation and the draft debacle?
So basically, nobody ever saw him falling this far. But this is the first situation in his entire life Dad couldn't control. When he went to college football, he wasn't really a name when he played his first year. So what's Dad do? Dad becomes the head coach of Colorado and says, come with me. Dad becomes the talk of the town. Everybody, all of sports, talks about Deion Sanders becoming the head coach of Colorado. They have the most transfer portals ever. They basically created the transfer portal. It was there. Nobody ever used it, but it was there. All of a sudden, Deion Sanders becomes the head coach of Colorado, and he basically walks in and says, I don't know who you guys are, but you're gone because I have a whole team waiting in the transfer portal. Everybody wants to come play for me. You guys go and ruined how many college football careers that already were there. Just basically decimated the whole team, said I'm starting over. All you guys that are here, I don't need you. I got a bunch of guys that want to play for me. And this is the first situation Deion couldn't control. Deion couldn't go to the NFL owners and go, you're going to get a top-notch guy. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. Do I think it was a collusion? Do I think it was an NFL owners of 32 guys going, I'm not drafting that guy? No. But I think it's a lesson. But in saying all that, I do actually respect how he handled it. He never came out and said, this is against me. You guys should have drafted. When he got drafted, he did say, I got 32 teams 5 times that I'm going to show wrong. I'm not, he just said, hey, it is what it is. This is the devil doing their work, and they're trying to knock me down, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna prove what I'm worth. Does that happen? We'll see. The problem is, I don't know if he ever gets an opportunity because he's on a roster now of 5 quarterbacks. So,
yeah.
Does he actually get an opportunity above? I mean, obviously, Deshaun Watson has an Achilles problem. He's not going to play. Flacco, right. He's the veteran. Yeah, he's probably there to coach. But Dylan Gabriel, obviously, they drafted him above Sanders because they believe talent-wise, Dylan Gabriel's above Sanders. So does he get the opportunity to show, or is he just there because? We'll find out. But it's the first situation Deion couldn't control, and he has to get a little. Basically, it's a taste of reality when Dad can't control your whole life. Look, I took you as far as I could. I took you to the top of the mountain. I got you the attention. I got you the money. He made more money in Colorado on NIL deals
Yeah.
than he's going to make in his first year in the NFL. It's the bottom line. It's that college football now is with the name, image, and likeness deal. The kids can make more now than them like in the NFL. So
Yeah, ask
you
Quinn
gotta
Ewers.
suck it up. Yeah, you got to suck it up, and you're going to have to go prove that Dad wasn't the one that got you there. But right now, that's what it looks like. Right now, it looks like Dad has given you everything you could do, and Deion took him as far as he could, and he dropped him at the doorstep, and he thought, my name will carry my son into the NFL. Well, it didn't. So now what do you do? And it's going to go one of two ways. Either you're going to come in with the chip on your shoulder and outwork people, or you're going to say, I'm Shadour Sanders, I'm here, and I want to go rap, and I'll bow out of the NFL in a couple of years. We'll find out what the real Shadour Sanders looks like.
Yeah.
Very shortly. We'll find out. Come training camp. Come voluntary workouts. Does he show up? Was he the first one there, or was he the last one there? Did he put in the work? Did he get reps above Dylan Gabriel, or is he sitting back going, I'm Shadour Sanders, I'm the Johnny Manziel, my tablet has 0% on it, or does it have 100%, and it shows that this kid's learning everything he needs to learn and is the next quarterback of the Cleveland Browns? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be he's going to draw attention. I think
100%.
right off the bat, because as much
he'll
as
have every interview that you want, he'll be there.
So as much as we want to, if the media wants to just paint it out how horrible and stuff, he got attention, right? Everyone was talking about Shadour Sanders. One of the top shorts we did gained so much attention, and it was all about Shadour. Like, so I mean, it, as much as the world was sitting there, making a joke out of everything and laughing about it and whatever, his name was being used constantly. So he's already developed some form of buzz, something. People that may not even watch NFL is like, who's this? Deion Sanders' son. So maybe they haven't watched him in years, and now they're paying attention because the whole thing was the talk of the town over a lot of things that happened in the draft, which is pretty crazy. So he, as much as he wasn't even involved in round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, people were still talking about it even after the second day of the draft. They were still like Shadour, like it was all over ESPN. So, I mean, he's got the buzz already, and it was because of something that wasn't happening. So I'm like,
ESPN open day 2 with where is Shadour should go the first pick of round 2.
Yeah.
If Cleveland wants him, here they are. They need to get him now rather than defense, because he might not be there when they come around 2 picks later.
Right.
In the second round, he might not be there.
Right.
And then he falls to round 5. But that's the entire day 2. That's all they talked about, was where he's going to go, when he's going to go, how he's going to go, who he's going to go to. And they seemed utterly shocked that he didn't go. Well, it is what it is.
I mean, and that,
but he still was talked about
right
the whole time.
Right. It's kind of like was it no news is bad? No news is like, not no news, but any news is good news, I guess, whenever you're talking about a brand or you're talking about a name and a presence, whether they're talking bad things or they're talking good things. And as long as your name is in everyone's mouths and minds, then they're all going to tune in to watch whatever happens. And I think that's the thing. Shadour will be a draw at any point when he plays. And
Cleveland
preseason,
Cleveland just sold a bunch of tickets.
Exactly.
Whether he plays or not, Cleveland just sold a bunch of tickets.
And the unfortunate part is, if that quarterback before him is struggling, guess what? Guess what the Cleveland fans are going to start chanting for?
Right.
And that's it's going to draw attention, and it's going to draw buzz and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
unfortunately Dillon Gabriel doesn't get what every other rookie gets.
His leash is very, very, very short. Right.
Very short, because you have the second coming of Jesus behind him in Shadour Sanders.
Yeah.
Somebody's not going to make the roster.
Right.
It might be Dillon Gabriel just because he's not Shadour Sanders. We don't know.
Yeah. And that's
you're not carrying 4 quarterbacks into your roster on opening day. You're not.
And that's the thing is, when it comes to how this all works out, I mean, we'll know in preseason. We will see Shadour in preseason, and we will see what kind of takes place there. I'm very interested in the overall media of this. It's going to be very fascinating. I mean, this is very interesting because Cleveland has kind of just not been in the mix for any kind of buzz like that, and this is their big thing. Johnny Manziel was probably, I don't know, was that the last time really?
Right. And he did nothing because he didn't watch any tape and didn't open his tablet. The bottom line is, they might put him on Hard Knocks just because of Shadour Sanders. I mean, we all know they're not going to carry that many quarterbacks out of the roster. I personally don't think the speed of the game translates to Shadour Sanders, but we'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah, Ryan says Shadour was quarterback 2 this draft. His mouth dropped him, and he is talented. He is more talented than any quarterback on the roster, even more than Gabriel. I think he's better than Gabriel, but this draft wasn't heavy quarterback either. It was kind of
yeah. I mean, Jackson Dart. You got Gabriel. You've got Shadour Sanders. You've got
very thin
Quinn Ewers. You've got the other kid that got drafted, Shadour.
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
Right, but yet they think he's going to be the main guy in New Orleans. The bottom line is, that's the reason he waited, was because they thought on talent alone he would make more money by going into this draft. That's why he didn't come out last year, because last year was a little bit more talented. They thought this year he had the upper hand. He was number 1 and he didn't end up being number 1. He ended up being even 2 or 3 or 4. He was down the list. I mean, what was there? 5 guys drafted and 5 quarterbacks drafted in front of him. I think the NFL made a statement.
Yeah. Cam Warren would have been QB7 last year. Yeah.
Right. I don't doubt that. I 100% agree. And that's why Cam Ward waited, and that's why Shadour Sanders waited. They waited for a weaker draft class, and it just didn't work for Shadour. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
It worked out for Cam. Cam ends up number 1. He gets more money. He goes to a better situation. I don't have any problem with that. Shadour Sanders, I think the speed of the game is going to shock him. I could be wrong. Maybe Ryan disagrees, but I think the speed of the game. I don't think he's played like anything in Colorado that he's going to see in the NFL. I just don't think he's played against talent. He hasn't played against that kind of talent level. I think the first time he throws the ball into the flat and it goes for 6 points the other way, he's going to go, what just happened?
Yeah, he's going to hold on to the ball too long.
I can make that throw all day long. I used to be able to hold on. I used to be able to go and look at my wide receiver for 10 minutes and throw him the ball, and he was wide open. Now I look at him for 10 seconds, and there's some guy running the other way with the ball. I think the speed of the game is going to very much affect Shadour Sanders. I could be wrong, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean I'm it'll be fascinating to see how he responds to the game.
The work ethic alone. Does he
yeah.
go in? Is he the first one there? Is he the first one in watching tape? Is he out throwing with the wide receivers on a practice fields on the side? Or is he coming the last one there and he's late and
Right.
just drags himself in and doesn't watch tape and doesn't watch film and just tries to go on talent alone?
Well,
That's
and the other thing too is, a lot of people are like, well, Cleveland was one of the perfect spots for him to be drafted into in a way. And I'm like, yeah, in a way, because media wise, but also maybe you got to struggle for a bit. Maybe you got to go to a situation where a team has been, not been the best.
Where you're not going to be a Super Bowl contender year one like you were in Kansas City.
Right. So I just think that, I think being in that position it's maybe not the best in terms of what you kind of like a team that's ready now kind of, and they're only a couple pieces away versus, you're going to be kind of struggling for a while. They're going to have to go and get more first round picks and they're going to,
you're going to be in the first round high next year too.
Right. So maybe maybe that's what he needs, because I think if he had gone to a big stage like the Giants, or
New York media or Dallas media would have put him on a pedestal.
Right, yeah, because now you're in Cleveland. I mean, where sports goes to die, basically. So.
And 38 quarterbacks have also gone to die. So.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, boost them up. I mean, you look at the freaking Cavaliers or whooping teams now. So they boost up and make the Browns relevant again. Maybe. Maybe. Or not.
Yeah. But or go to the.
I mean, I think it's a perfect position because
island of misfit toys.
If everyone is wrong and Shadour turns the Browns into a contender and they build around him over these course of the next 5 years. Can you imagine?
He'll be a legend. A legend.
He would be solidified in Cleveland as, come on, man. Whatever he would want, he would get. I mean, it is what it is. So you are in a position where the slate is clean.
You could be the LeBron James of Cleveland,
There you
bring
go.
A championship back to Cleveland. So we'll see.
I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. He'll definitely be on the roster regardless.
No one thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be what he was, Brian, and he got drafted when?
Well, Aaron Rodgers, they knew he was going to be a first rounder. He just went later in the first round than they expected. Okay. He was a 26th pick in the first round, which we also drafted Jordan Love in the 26th pick in the first round. So kind of interesting how history repeats itself with Green Bay. Well, we covered the draft, we covered the Shadour Sanders situation. I gotta talk about Greg Popovich, man. One of the best coaches in NBA history that I've ever seen.
Not one of, just the best.
One of the best coaches.
One of.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson just ran into talent. Oddly
Don't give me that. Phil Jackson was one of the best as well.
Offense does not count. Okay. Stop it.
Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches to win or to coach basketball in the history, has sadly stepped away with health issues. And we wouldn't be a sports show if we didn't at least mention his name. I know basketball hasn't been that favorite of ours to watch as of late, but Popovich to me was kind of the last coach that gave a damn, made the players play hard. LeBron James didn't want to go play there because he wasn't going to cater to them. He was going to coach how he wanted to coach, and you're going to get on his on the way that Greg wants to coach, or you're going to find yourself in another city. And it's sad to see that his health is declined. What do you guys know what that is? What his health issues was? Because they had to take him to the hospital, and
he had a stroke, basically a stroke mid game, and it was small, but he had a stroke, and then they put him in the hospital, checked him out, leave of absence or whatever, and then he had some complications trying to come back from that. I don't exactly know what those complications were, but it led to another hospital stay, and basically they just said no more.
Yeah.
They said you need to take it, it off. And kudos to San Antonio for creating president of basketball operations and going, you're going to be in the organization forever. Kudos to them for that. They didn't waste any time hiring a guy. So that was kind of like I think they knew it was coming. I think they had a backup plan all along.
Yeah.
But man, it's sad.
It is sad
to see a legend go out not on his own terms, not coaching his last game where he's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
He's had basically all the accolades he can have.
Yeah.
But it's sad to see him not be able to go out on his own terms where the horn sounds and the players are celebrating him and on the sidelines where he belongs.
He should have a statue outside the stadium, and
he will.
I think that's I think that's a given.
Maybe even be inside, like the lobby area. I would even do that too.
Yeah, San Antonio is very good about that. I mean, they have had the David Robinson, they've the Ginobilis, the Parkers, that team was legendary, and that guy got the best out of guys that weren't first round picks. Ginobili and Parker, they weren't your top tier picks, and he went over and put in the work overseas to go get those guys and make them what they are, and they're all going to be Hall of Famers because of Greg Popovich, and they all basically owe their careers to that guy.
It's pretty wild. You can tell kind of when basketball is life for some of these guys. Pat Riley, like if Pat Riley wasn't doing anything basketball, I don't know what he would do with himself. And when it comes to Popovich, it's sad because I think that he just lived for it. Like he that's why he's doing this to the end, because I think he just loves the game that much, loves teaching, up and coming talent so much that, I mean, it's like, I could never envision him just like chilling out, sitting, retired. Like he always seemed like a guy that just eats, breathes, and sleeps basketball, and cultivating young talent and teaching them the way of the game that he taught many other people. And so, I think that I hope that, maybe he can get a little bit better and still enjoy the game, from a different angle, and help the team. You do, and help the team. But I think, I know his wife passed away many years back. And so, that I think this is his thing. Like this is his, and I think if he, unfortunately, I think if he's, so sick that he can't even enjoy basketball or in any shape or form, it's like, I don't want to say it, but it's like, is that his will? Like, is his will to keep going, being a part of this? So, sad to hear about it. Awesome guy. He gave the Mavericks hell for many years. And it wasn't because we didn't like it. It was like, they were just good. So just like, and I always got so frustrated. So I was like, oh my God, we can't ever beat this team. They were awesome.
Thorn in the side in the playoffs. You knew you were going to go through the Spurs to get to the championship. And one of my favorite series to watch of all time was Kobe and Derek Fisher versus Duncan. And Duncan hits this turnaround jumper, falling down at the key, and blazes it with 0.3 of a second left, and I'm like, that's it. We just lost this game. That was a great shot, Duncan. There, Yeah. And Derek Fisher, they lob it into him, and he like throws it up as fast as he can and blazes it in, and then runs off the court, and we win the game. And that was one of my favorite games to watch, and it was always a great matchup when you had to. You knew you were in a dogfight when you're facing Popovich and you're facing Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. So it'll be sad. It's sad to see him step away.
He's one of the greats that was kind of a part of the game before it started changing a bit and kind of evolving into what it is today.
Which is not very good.
Yeah, Pat Riley's another one. He's still running around, and I'm like, wow, this guy's been around a long time.
One of the last, I don't know, say OGs, but in a way that.
Yeah, I mean, Riley was around with Magic and Bird,
Showtime. He was part of the Showtime.
I mean, and he still runs a pretty well-known organization who's been successful in the Heat. They've won a couple titles. He's still a very big part of that organization. I mean,
and I saw this the other day. It's because we're talking about basketball, and it's not even playoff related. As the Lakers and Luka and LeBron got bounced out of the playoffs by a team that Luka beat the year before, but there was a Kobe Bryant and his daughter memorial up in LA that someone had graffitied over like a dickhole, and Luka has donated money to get that repaired. So he donated like $5,000. It's going to cover it to repair this mural, and so he's already helping out the city of LA. And I heard a story the other day that some guy before he got right after he got traded, some Dallas fan reached out about helping buy his kids sporting supply so he could go play, and Luka sent him money to do that. So he's kind of helping out in both cities. So I thought that was just kind of cool.
Just a note on the Luka stuff. They lost 4 games to 1.
Yeah.
And we're already starting to hear it, right?
Mm-hmm.
JJ Redick is already starting to talk, right?
We need to be in shape.
We need to be in championship shape. Now, who could he be talking about, Brian? LeBron?
Well,
I mean, who knows?
Luka,
right?
Man, LeBron probably.
What are the odds it's Luka?
99.9%.
Okay. Well, I mean, a lot of Laker fans are like upset now because they're like, well, Luka can't play defense. He never could, really.
No.
I mean, that was one of the problems. That's why we had to get 2 centers. Like what?
And the lack of any kind of rim protection.
Yeah.
In the Lakers deal was the end all be all. Unless you were going to score 140, you weren't going to win because you weren't going to play defense. You knew LeBron. LeBron spends more time on the floor.
Flopping.
Did I hear that right? Was LeBron playing center?
I mean, that's all
at any point during this series.
That's all they got. I mean, it's the tallest guy on the roster.
Oh.
But Flopopotamus over there, who has a Venmo account with the flop, deal of the league. I mean, I got a guy at work who's like, "You don't like LeBron?" No, I don't.
Who's that?
Why?
Who's the guy?
Joe Moore. He's like, he said, "You don't like LeBron?" I'm like, "No."
Can't stand that guy.
I'm like, I wouldn't watch him. No, he has a
hey
Venmo
Joe,
account.
You suck.
Yeah, he has a Venmo account. He has a Venmo account with the league on to play his flop fine. He has an auto pay for the flop fine. He just has a card on file because I saw a guy run into LeBron and he falls like a tree in the forest. Just
that there is an odd video where he does this.
Down.
Yes, and he's looking like
and then he has this.
The guy's a joke. An absolute joke, man.
I understand that he's 40 and he's still playing basketball. Kudos to you. But you take 10 million and look, this is not going to be a popular opinion either. Probably going to lose a bunch of subscribers. But I didn't think
Mute Craig.
I didn't think Michael Jordan was the greatest guy either.
Oh,
he wins a scoring title by a half a point over Dominique Wilkins and takes 600 more shots. Like, I get it.
Craig's not allowed to talk basketball anymore. All right. Michael Jordan is the best player to ever play the game. And then I'll give it to
LeBron.
Then I'll give it to Kobe.
But he's not Kobe.
I love Kobe.
And the thing is,
I love Kobe.
With LeBron stuff to the side, I will say now the narrative was Nico right? Now we didn't get what we got in the trade.
No.
That was crap. That was
he wasn't right.
Garbage.
You got a bag of airline peanuts.
Right. We got nothing. But the question now is, was Nico right?
No.
Was Nico right on the conditioning part of it? Was Nico right on the injury part of it? Which
he was right. He was right on the conditioning part of it. But the guy wakes up and scores 30 points a game. You don't give that away for a bag of peanuts.
Right. And that's and you're right. And you're right. But my one little thing, I did not know this until now. Conditioning was something talked about with the Mavericks and Luka Doncic for a long time.
Always.
Go rewind time when he played for Spain. Supposedly, it was the same narrative with them. They were having problems with that as well. And then if you rewind to Slovenia team.
If you look up, he showed up in better shape for the Olympics, though, than
right.
he ever looked for the Mavericks.
But then if you go back to when before he played for Spain, and it was the same thing with the Slovenia team. So I'm like, they were bringing up that same stuff back then that the Spain brought up, the Mavericks brought up, and now JJ Redick bring it up. And again, we can sit there and say, "Oh man, he's got all the stats in the world."
Right? No, nobody ever says he's not good. He's
right.
Great.
So,
but he can't play defense, and he may be overweight when he comes to camp.
The thing about it is the injuries, right? So if someone's out of shape and they're trying to play a high intense sport, and as you get later in the season where it gets more intense, and then he's getting hurt, and even if it's the littlest thing, like bumped his knee to someone, and all of a sudden he's like this, and then series 1, game 1, you're holding your knee, and it literally got worse every single game and every series from that point on. That happened last year, and I'm like, what if you were a little bit more doctoring your body a bit? Would you be having this problem?
No, he probably wouldn't have the injury history. He probably wouldn't. Your hamstrings probably wouldn't be brittle if you weren't carrying an extra 30 pounds.
We're going to lose a bunch of listeners tonight.
I mean, no, this is coming from a Maverick fan. This is not like I didn't want to trade him, but now when I'm looking at it, it's like JJ Redick brought it up.
Right. I don't think Nico was wrong. I just think Nico didn't
he got schooled on the actual
right.
results
but he just basically talked to his buddy. He said, "Hey, I'm going to trade Nico," and the Lakers, him and his Nike buddy, made a handshake deal and traded peanuts, and he could have gotten a ton more.
Way more,
to
yeah.
the open market.
And I think that's
the place where Nico went wrong.
Right.
And I don't think even if Dallas got the entire market, even if they got 4 first-round picks and Anthony Carl Town, whatever they get, I don't think it would ever be enough for Luka as a Mav fan because I love the guy.
Right. No, and I get that.
Trading Dirk, I get it. But at least you would have had something to fall back on if you'd have gotten market value. You didn't even get close to market value.
No. And
the reasoning Nico had wasn't wrong. His conditioning, his health, his work ethic, he just wasn't maybe thing. But
and
they never went to claiming from Luka's standpoint, they never went to Luka and went, "Hey, you need to work harder, you need to lose weight, you need to do this," or
so are we made to believe that Spain didn't do that? or his team in Slovenia didn't approach him at all about it, and then yet the Mavericks never approached him with it.
But at least if the Mavericks went to him about it, there's no documentation. There's no
right.
Tried.
And again, maybe because of who he is, maybe because of it being Dallas, because of the
maybe
market.
They didn't make it public. Maybe they did do it.
Yes,
and didn't
exactly.
Make it public.
Because the moment you make it public, everyone's talking about it, and the only people that were talking about that were rumblings. Whether it's Tim McMahon or it was, some whatever Kendrick Perkins or some ESPN analysts were the only ones bringing it up.
By not making it public,
right?
You now have egg on your face and look like you just.
Well, JJ Redick just made it public, basically, right off the bat. So I'm like, wow.
I'm saying from the Nico standpoint, by not making it public, he now looks like he disrespected the greatest player in Mavs history, or one of them.
I mean, and the thing is like now the narrative is, can Luka
might cost him his job?
Maybe it might, it may not, it may, who knows? But the thing is, when it comes down to all of this, it's like now people are like questioning, can Luka win a championship with the Lakers? Like, with some of this, there's a lot of pieces the Lakers have to have in order to get to where they think they need to be, which is an NBA Finals.
They definitely need somebody in the middle of the
Well,
lane.
we had to get 2 centers, and we made it to the finals, and obviously got bounced, but by a better defense, by the way. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's fascinating, but I'm a Luka fan. It's just like you start to hear it again, this brought up again, and you're just like,
right.
Is there smoke where the fire is, or are we just completely like rose-colored glasses? We love Luka and he's triple doubles, but let's ignore the fact that this team's talking about that, this team's talking about that, this team over here talked about it, this one over here talked about it. I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I wish LeBron never joined the Lakers so I could still be a Laker fan, and I'd be like, bring on Luka. Yes, thank you. But I can't. So I will never sit here and say, now, Jeff, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, yes, Luka's conditioning issues. It's been a thing. But you don't trade the guy. I don't give a damn. Nico will never be right for trading him. I don't care if he got more back for the trade. You don't trade a guy that meant this much to the city. You came in here, didn't know. You said, I knew Luka was important, but I didn't know how much. Are you an idiot? Are you coaching his team from Germany across the seas? What are we doing? That would be like them trading Dirk Nowitzki away.
Oh, yeah.
And not only that,
and I'm sure it was probably an idea at one point.
They pissed off Dirk Nowitzki. He's like, this. They're really kicking me out here, and I just think it's a joke. And I hope that Nico loses his job. I hope he gets fired, and I don't think there's a recovery from this, guys. Honestly, don't. For Nico. For Nico and Dallas.
No, the rumor is they've already reached out to Dirk to see if he'll be the president of basketball operations and take Nico's job if he ever loses it. But we'll see. I think that's an idea.
The thing about it, though, Brian, I'm just going to bring this out here. When at any point do we sit here and kind of go over and go, okay, how long was Luka with Mavericks? 6 years, right? Something like that. I think it was 6 years, something like that.
Look it up, but
he's 20-something years old, 26 now. But he came in super young. And so in that time frame, do we know how many years healthy he actually played a full season without long periods of he's hurt, he's injured, his back.
The last 2 seasons, yeah.
He's 6.5. This 6.5 years with Mavericks.
Okay, so let's say the Mavericks never traded him, Brian, and then the next 5 years, there's injury pile up, and we go, is it something we need to die on the sword with, or are we just kind of go, this is the player he is?
He's going to play 60 games a year, and
I mean, you dealt with this, Brian, with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. When do you go, you know what? It's time to maybe
Well,
maybe
with
this
Aaron
is who he
Rodgers,
is. Maybe this is it.
And Rodgers was father time, though. It's not.
He was
father time,
older.
really.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't care. And you know why I don't care? Because first of all, it's hard to predict injuries. So, but secondly, every time he's in your lineup, you have a chance to win it all. Every time Aaron Rodgers started the season with the Packers, we had a chance to win it all. And I'll take that chance any day of the week.
Yeah, but he has to be there when it's time to win it all. And he has to play enough to be able to qualify to win it all. And if he misses 40 games a year, then that's not
Well,
enough
and the thing
time
is
to-
if he
to qualify to win it all.
and if he misses
So even
a
if
long
you win
periods
the
of
40
time,
games that he wins, that he's there, you still got 30 other games or 40 other games that he's not there.
I'm betting.
hence the injuries, Brian.
Right.
Where I go,
I'm-
you know how like in baseball, right? If you rush back, right? We saw it with AD. They rushed him back and then he re-injured something. And I'm like, well, there you go. Like you're not to a point where your body is ready for this again. And so Luka, even when the trade happened, he didn't even play for the Lakers for 2 more weeks. And then is like immediately in. And then I think he hurt something again, like 2 weeks later. And then he was out a couple of games. And then it was just like,
The problem,
I'm
I
still
think-
betting on it. And no one thought the Mavericks were sniffing the championship last year. And we got there. Let's not forget that. We got there just last year. Now we didn't beat Boston.
nope, better defense.
But we were there.
And
No one thought we were making it.
Again, let's go back. We give Nico a bunch of crap, right, for the trade, right?
Yeah.
Nico
Terrible.
brought in Gafford. Nico was
brought in
somebody-
Gafford and he brought in PJ Walker. And we were like, okay, great.
So let's go back and look. I do not think the Mavericks get to the finals without Gafford and Lively. I just don't.
No, they don't. They don't.
I don't think we had. Go and look at our lineup the years before that. What was it? Go against the Clippers. What happens? Bounced. Right? I mean, it's just there wasn't enough there defensively. And again, we could sit here and laugh at the Nico talk and say, oh, defense wins championships. Look at Boston. I mean, look what they were managed to do in that finals. They shut Luka down. So
the problem is it wasn't the injury for Luka. It was once he was injured, he was nowhere around the team. He basically just went home, and he wasn't on the sidelines. He wasn't helping his teammates. He wasn't out supporting his teammates. He was basically, and we basically, who was it for the Ravens the quarterback for the Ravens over there,
Lamar Jackson.
Mhm.
did the same thing. We hammered him for not showing up to a playoff game that he says he was injured to, but he didn't even show up for his team. Luka was never there on the sidelines. At least when you have, we call street clothes over there. He's there. He's in the building. Luka was never even around the team. And that, I think, was what the problem Nico had was you're not only injured, but you're not even here like helping or going to practice and looking at you. Like you're just gone. You're just not in the building for 6-8 weeks. Like you just went back to home and put your feet up. And that's not a guy we want around the organization. And so from that standpoint, you get it. You get it.
It is fascinating. I think the more we get away
As
from
a
this
Mavericks
trade,
fan, you'll never support it.
no,
But you
no,
have to look at it
right.
from a different perspective. The guy would never even show up in the building.
Here's another issue I have too. You go out and make moves for this team based on Luka being here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get rid of him halfway through the season, and we're going, what the hell? Where's the direction of the team now? You go out and you get Klay Thompson. Well, Klay Thompson's great if he's sitting wide open because Luka dragged all the defense in, and he can toss it out and make a wide open three. Fantastic.
Kyrie can do that too.
Well, he's missed most of the season too.
Well, but you can't
So
predict that. You had
then,
no idea Kyrie would
I know.
have
I
all
just said
those
this.
ACL.
I just said the same thing with Luka. So I mean, I'm betting on the guy that can get me to the championship, the superstar, any day of the week, and I'll take that on my team. And the chances every year, then you just shut your window. How long is Kyrie going to play? How long is Street Clothes? You trading for a guy that's been named Mr. Street Clothes because he's never on the goddamn court.
Right. And I'm not saying that they made the right trade.
I know you're not back in the trade,
no one's
but I'm
back
just
in the trade.
It just doesn't. The reasonings I understand, but then you look at what they got and go, this guy's way more injured than Luka has ever been. So what's
but the Mavericks have also absolutely crazy. Have gotten more out of Kyrie Irving than any other team in the NBA.
That is true.
So every other team
that's Jason Kidd
doing that. He's been a cancer. You have not heard.
Oh, I've never seen this coming for him. Yeah,
you have not heard one negative thing. From
he
Kyrie
loves
Irving
Dallas
since he's come to Dallas.
I mean, he sat there and congratulated the draft pick, that the WNBA girl, and
not one media person, not one nothing has been out of Kyrie Irving. He hasn't made any TikToks. He hasn't made any videos. Not on YouTube out here bashing deals. Kyrie Irving has been a Boy Scout since he's come to Dallas, and he hasn't been like that in Cleveland. He hasn't been like that in Boston. Right. He hasn't been like that anywhere he's gone.
I love that this has turned into a Luka thing. I love it.
Well, and the thing, and I don't know. I just look at it I'm trying to look at things without the rose-colored glasses, because I mean, as a fan of the team, it's like, yes, I could easily be like, well, you know what? That there's no justification for any of this at all, and Luka was the perfect player, and we should just sit here and go torch Nico's house. Like it's just like. Well, kind of, but if you go back and look, Brian, even when we got to the finals, even getting to the finals, look at the road it took to get to that, and all the players that were really good that are doing better on other teams that were part of this whole Luka saga. Brunson and Porzingis, and it's just
Porzingis is not.
Doesn't matter. He won a championship. Nah. He beat Luka.
Porzingis. That's like AD going to Golden State and winning a championship. It's like, okay, Porzingis was never that good in Dallas.
He won.
But let's not act like Luka was not the main star of getting us to where we needed to be.
Right. I'm not sitting there saying that, but I'm saying you have to get the exact the perfect pieces in place for Luka to succeed. And I just have a very difficult time seeing the Lakers actually pull that off.
But you've got, I don't think they will either, but that's with anybody though. Like if you go out and get a star, every star has their flaws. You've got to get people to cover those flaws. And there's not, let's be honest, with this whole defense wins championships.
Unless your name's Kobe Bryant, then you just put him in your back.
Then you're just awesome.
Yeah. Right.
Now, let's not fool ourselves with this whole Nico and defense wins championships. Because there's not defense in the NBA. There's not a lot of it. There's never has been. And the first time we've seen it was Boston last year.
Boston,
not while you were,
Cleveland
not while you were alive.
This year.
Yeah. There's not been a whole lot of defense wins championships. And we're going to keep people to 80 to 90 points. And we've seen it.
Jordan area, that's all it was.
The scores are 120, and you're like, oh, wow, what happened to the defense?
You scored 100, and it was a deal. So.
Now
what
Boston
if it's flipping now in terms of some of these teams, in terms of Boston. Boston was able to shut Luka down offensively and Kyrie.
Well, I think Kyrie is more of a mental thing. I think he totally shit the bed when he went in there with the fans cheering against him, and I think that was a shocker. But you double anybody, you can shut him down. You double Luka in a regular season game, and it comes to him finding the Klay Thompson in the corner and finding other guys. But
it's on the other end. Luka just struggled.
Oh, yeah.
He did not play good defense, Brian. He's a liability there. And so when you're talking about 100%. Having to outscore a team and the guy's running past him and he just puts an arm out and barely even tries to grab anything or even like try to block him out, You really like it?
I'm not going to defend Luka's defensive effort, but I'll take him scoring 32 a game.
That's the conditioning part.
Oh,
he
yeah.
can shoot all day long. I'm not sitting there thinking that. But when the conditioning comes into play, that's defense. That's defense a little bit. So, yeah, he has bad defense.
He does, 100%.
So
there's no one arguing that ever.
So whenever that happens, then you have all the other players that have to step up defensively to make up for that, which is a problem.
But he's carrying him on the offensive side of the ball.
But if we're going to put him on a caliber of Kobe Bryant and all these players that are amazing, right? We have to hold him accountable for the other side of the ball as well. If he's an elite player, Brian, then he's an elite player.
He is an elite player.
Kobe Bryant played good defense. Kobe Bryant played good offense.
Kobe Bryant is the best, well, not the best ever to do it, but the second best ever to do it.
So, if we're going to put him on that caliber.
Luka, I'm not saying he's Kobe. I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, but he is a
he's
superstar.
Elite, right? Right.
He is an elite player, yes.
Okay, on one side of the ball versus the other.
Well, yeah.
So how can you be elite, Brian, if it's one side of the ball?
Cover a fire hydrant, but
you can be elite.
Then he has to work on it. If he really wants to change the narrative, then work on it.
He's not. He's not. This is who he is, and I'll take him. I'll take him.
Then you need to accept Dak Prescott, Brian. Okay, that's who he is.
Dak's not good enough.
Oh, no, we're just completely shifting the.
I'm not shifting.
And we're out of time.
3 hours later.
I'm about to shut the internet down.
I love how I switched it.
That was amazing.
We've seen. He's been in the league 8 years. We know who he is. Anyways.
Yes, we know who he is. MVP.
Not good enough. Anywho,
that was funny.
I can't wait till football season.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Well,
does anyone want to talk about hockey?
No, it's we're almost 2 hours
17
in.
hours later.
Let's
Game
not.
7, guys. Game 7.
Game 7 Saturday night.
Saturday night.
All right,
in
tomorrow.
the building. Stars
Do or
will
die.
hand out handshakes.
All right, let's make it a quick what's in your locker segment. Haven't done that in a while. We will start with me because I'm going to the Ranger game tomorrow. Yeah. I'm excited, but not excited because the team sucks.
Whoa,
all right.
Whoa.
I could go up there and swing the bats as good as they are right now, and we'd be doing the same exact thing, and that's losing. All right.
Calm down.
Jock Peterson 0 for 42 over here.
Except for when he's playing the Giants, then he's 3 for 5.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's always fun to go to the ballpark. I'm going to the game tomorrow against Seattle. We lost today 13-1. No, 13-1. So that was fun. That was fun.
We sent the best hitter that we're having right now down to the minors.
Yeah, we were like, Jake Berger, sit your ass down to AAA.
You've only hit a couple triples. Go down to AAA.
Go to AAA. It'll be fun to go. I'm hoping the Rangers, we still got a long way to go, but their bats are freaking pathetic. We have the best pitching staff in baseball. We have some of the best ERAs you've ever seen, and they'll go out and give you 8 innings of no runs or give up 1 run, and that's it. And they lose the ball game.
Which should mean that you are playing well if you have the best pitching in baseball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not exactly the best, but
our bats. We have the second best ERA in baseball as far as starters.
Right behind. There's a team that they're right behind. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head who that might be, but.
Are you being sarcastic, or who is it? The Giants? It's not the Giants.
Yeah,
Damn! Wow, didn't see that one coming. But anyways, I'm going to the Ranger game tomorrow. I'm super stoked about it. I hope we hit some balls because we've been terrible at that. It's been frustrating. And Chris Young's like, we're doing a change because you guys are embarrassing me again, like you did last year, and I'm not going to sit here and just watch it. So it's been kind of interesting. Excited to start the Lambeau Leap podcast. I'm going to start that episode here sometime soon and talk about the draft for the Green Bay Packers heading into the season. And other than that, just working. And I go back to the early shift next week. So looking forward and not looking forward to it all at the same time. Craig, what's in your locker, my friend?
Not a whole lot. Just enjoying baseball season, the end of hockey season. Hoping tomorrow night is not the end of a Dallas Stars season that has started so well and ended for injury. But no, just taking the weekend off. Next weekend is going to be busy with work with the rodeo, and we've got some things going on with work. So I'll be out of pocket next weekend. But speaking of Friday night, I might not be here. We'll see. Matter of fact, I don't think I will be. I think I'll be in Frisco. But
Frisco,
yeah,
is that where they're doing it?
yeah. So
Nice.
old Rough Rider Stadium. We're gonna go destroy that parking lot.
Destroy that parking lot like we did the.
We did Texas Motor Speedway last.
Whew.
Yeah. No, it's just enjoying some time off. Zach's got his first job at HEB over there, and he's bagging groceries and loving life and working as many days as he can. I don't think he gets a day off till next Thursday, and it makes you laugh when your kid opens his bank account and he's got $174 and he thinks he's on top of the world. He thinks he just made $1 million. So
He's Shadour.
yeah. I can pay for my own gas, Dad. All right, good for you. Just basically hanging out, watching baseball and hockey, and enjoying the weekend off before things get kind of busy. Jeff?
Not a whole lot. Watch it, just here and there, catching some of the baseball stuff. Aaron Judge is just he's not even human.
Crushing baseballs.
Oh, he hit one that was 114 miles an hour home run. I was
Awesome.
like, gosh. So watching some of that, just kind of kind of seeing what's going on with obviously football stuff. So not so much going on. Headed to Wyoming next weekend for a selling event on Saturday. I might still be able to do the show. I'll just probably be doing it from a hotel. And then the next weekend,
take my laptop. I might be doing the same thing.
I'll use my phone. But my mom's, I'll be at my mom's the following weekend for my birthday. So and yeah, not this coming Saturday, but the next. So that one I'm not sure because my aunt's in town from Georgia, and I'm excited to see her. I haven't seen her in a very long time. So that's kind of it. Oh yeah, GTA 6 got delayed, Brian, to next year. I just wanted to let
Son of a
this time next year, actually. So that's kind of weird that came out.
We need to play some MLB The Show.
Yes.
That's what I need to do.
Yeah,
yes, we definitely do. And we need to use the Twitch.
Kids.
I have the Sportscast gaming thing. So but yeah, not much, just chilling out. Yeah, just kind of gearing up for the next couple weeks, really. Because I'm just gonna be busy the next couple weekends, but I should be able to do Friday if I get to Wyoming when I get off work. But
sounds good. Well, next Friday, well, enjoy Wyoming, dude. I hear it's beautiful. Never been there.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures from Yellowstone and stuff like that.
yeah.
All right, John Dutton, reel it in.
John Dutton here. All right, guys. Well, it is kind of a long up. This might be the longest episode we've done in
history.
Maybe in the history. Almost 2 hours. So, the guys, we do a sportscast every Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time, Texas time, because Texas is the best. And I love saying that. But come follow along, man. You saw it tonight. You come in the comment section. We'll put you on the show. We'll debate with you. We'll talk with you. I think we had a pretty good discussion tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing the show with us. It's always fun. Next Friday, we're probably going to be talking about some hockey. We didn't really get into the NBA playoffs. We might need to get into that a little bit I haven't watched one second of that though.
Rockets force Game 7 tonight. So that's why.
Wow, the Rocket. Who thought the Rockets would be in the playoffs this year and forcing Game 7?
And fighting, get Golden State for Game 7.
Yeah, insane. So we'll see. We'll have any other news that breaks this week, and anything else like that. But gentlemen, thanks. I think we had a really good debate tonight, and we will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend. God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.